And why is that?
She was
Another day, another.
I just drank on the job and stuff like that, and her behavior was
Objection, relevance.
horrible.
She's already testified. Kate James has testified, and I think the bias, we can...
All right, I'll allow that. Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay. Please describe for the jury what job responsibilities Kate had and how you communicated with her and kind of how that worked.
Objection, compound.
Johnny and I kind of lived in this insular bubble anyway when we were together. But we would send emails, texts, and a lot of voice memos, voice notes. And, you know, if I found that if I said, Kate, you know, you left the car running with your doors open and your kids in the car on the street, you need to
Objection,
move
hearsay.
Deposition, didn't you say that what you did was compare Mr. Depp's performance in lots of pirate movies against his deposition testimony here?
What I said was I've seen Mr. Depp do apology ads. I remember he did an apology ad with Bad Dog with no delay in process speed. I've seen him interact with the media regarding to that. I saw no delay in processing speed. All I'm saying.
Let me ask you about pirates, though. You compared pirates to the to the depositions given in this case.
Then I apologize for what I said.
You misspoke. You didn't make the comparison.
Right now, just a second ago. Just a second ago, I may have said that I misspoke. I apologize. I misspoke.
Okay. Because you know you can't compare pirates to sworn testimony, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But you can. But as an aside, you can judge someone's processing speed at any time. Like I'm judging yours right now. You're judging mine. We all judge processing speed.
What? Oh. Okay.
As a baseline, because of what we know about each other, I would say your processing speed right now is not slow. So, I mean, we're judging processing speed. I'm just saying to you.
Yeah. But no, any of Mr. Depp's other portrayals in movies, did that affect your analysis of processing speed?
Only I've seen him interact on interviews, and that was it.
Right.
When he wasn't in movies.
Right. But Willy Wonka doesn't matter to you? You see him in that movie, Charlie and Chocolate Factory? Did you look at that one when you were comparing his processing speed?
Do I have to answer that question, Your Honor?
You have to answer questions. Yes, sir.
No, you'll be happy to know I didn't see Willy Wonka I didn't see 21 Jump Street when it happened, or whatever it was about. No, I did not.
All right.
Your Honor, there is, Ms. Schulman, also the ACLU, acknowledged that Ms. Heard's op-ed referred to Mr. Depp. So it's very clear that the ACLU and Ms. Heard intended, that was the whole purpose of this, so that they could get interest in this and it would coincide with the premiere of Aquaman, because otherwise no one would have been interested in anything written by Ms. Heard.
Another day, another slave. Period.
Mr. Doherty also testified that Ms. Heard only paid 1.3, actually she didn't even pay all that, out of the $3.5 million that she had pledged to the ACLU, and then they helped her lie about it.
More
under the
strike
influence.
everything after.
I was trying to stop
the
that.
answer to her question.
Your Honor, she was responding.
I'll overrule the objection. That's fine.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This is a situation where you were trying to get Mr. Depp to pay attention to you. Isn't that right?
No, I was trying to stop him from using.
And because he ran away from you at the first sign of trouble, you call him a monster.
I was
right?
trying to stop him from turning into the monster. The drugs are the key that opened the door.
Who was the real monster in this relationship, Ms. Heard?
Lives in Johnny, half of Johnny. It's not all of Johnny. The other half of him is wonderful and beautiful and the man I love.
You write a long series of text messages to Mr. Depp that don't get a response. Is that correct?
That is correct.
You write, "Come grown, face the shit, and we can do anything." You go on a little later to say, "Please come home. Let's apologize to each together." And continuing on page 77, you write, "Not go to bed mad." And it goes on. And I won't read all these messages, but you're saying, "Please answer," over and over again. Right?
It was very important to me.
Good morning, Dr. Moore.
Good morning.
You said you reviewed Mr. Depp's video deposition. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you said you reviewed Mr. Depp's testimony at this trial, correct?
That's correct.
And was that also a video of his testimony?
Yes.
Isn't it true, Dr. Moore, that when Mr. Depp did the demonstration in his deposition, he showed that his fingers were hanging over the bar?
Well, even hanging over the bar, it still leaves the dorsum of the hand or the nail vulnerable.
That's not my question, Dr. Moore. My question is, isn't it true that Mr. Depp said his fingers were not laying flat on a table, they were hanging over the bar?
Yes.
Okay. And in fact, you knew that when you made that opinion. Isn't that correct?
Well, I believe that as I demonstrated sitting here, that I said that he had said they were slightly curled over, I think was the description that I gave.
Your description in this courtroom was that it was laying flat, and I think you've done that now twice. But in your deposition, you testified that his fingers were actually hanging over the bar. Isn't that correct?
Objection, Your Honor. Misstates the witness's testimony. He clearly indicated they were curled. Or could have been curled.
Overruled.
During your deposition, what were the circumstances under which you decided to call Mr. Depp an idiot?
Under somebody call Mr. Depp an idiot?
Yeah, you called Mr. Depp an idiot in your deposition. Why?
Okay. So I think it was in the context. I think it was in the. Probably should read the context of it, because I think the context was, and I'm trying to think back. Okay, and what I thought it was related to was if you're coming to some deposition. Okay, and again, I'm thinking back. So you have it in front of you. I don't. So I'm thinking back.
Is it your practice to describe people as idiots?
In my practice, in my practice?
Fine. And I thought it was based at least in part on the manner in which he testified.
I'm sorry, what?
On the manner in which he testified.
On the manner, I'm sorry, I'm not being difficult. I can't hear. I'm sorry. On what?
You talked about the fact that Mr. Depp indicates that from time to time he uses an earpiece.
Yeah, I mean, I read that, yes.
Okay. Did you read the testimony of Mr. Wyatt, who told you what was being pumped into that earpiece?
Yeah, I mean, if I remember right, I mean, I think it was lines, right?
No, it was music.
It was music, not his lines?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So if Mr. Depp was listening to music rather than being fed his lines, does that change your opinion as to his cognitive function?
If he was never fed his lines through the earpiece, which I know he was, and that may have been that example, Mr. Wyatt may have said that it was music during the actual talking of your lines. Is that what you're saying to me?
Well, you know, if you can do two things at once, that's a pretty high cognitive function, isn't it, sir?
You know, it's a very good point, actually. Divided attention is something humans have a lot of trouble in.
But what you found hard to believe, sir, was that every line of the script was pumped through an earpiece. Where did you ever get the idea that occurred?
That's what I read in the court review, the court evidence. That's where I got it from.
Right. And you know whether Marlon Brando used an earpiece?
Isn't he dead?
Yeah.
So the answer is no, he does not use one now.
Oh, I used the past tense, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry.
you all the text messages for the last 18 months in which he's scoring drugs, in which you'll hear testimony from people in which he's gotten drunk and taken all kinds of different drugs. The whole time. He doesn't get clean and sober. But he claims that he was clean. She flew in from filming The Danish Girls. She's there, and he claims that he was just sitting there calmly, and she was haranguing him. So he took a shot glass of vodka. He did that. She got mad, took the bottle of vodka, was 8 to 10 feet, about where I am from you, and hurled it at him, and it happened to just take off the bottom part of his finger. And then he says she came and burned a hole in his cheek. The testimony is going to be that he self-mutilated on a number of occasions and burned himself in the cheek and also cut himself. But Amber never did that. And you're going to hear from the experts testifying about this finger injury and how fantastic this version is. Feces on the bed, and had been upset about it and taken a picture and sent it to him. So all of a sudden, a month later, he's got it in his head that Amber has conspired with her friends to defecate on the bed. It's human, not dog, even though they got 2 dogs and one of them has major problems. You'll hear about Boo and Pistol. And how many times they were in their fights. And she said, she's almost half his size. So she said, if I pushed him, he doesn't move. He pushes me, I go flying across the room. There are many, many, many photographs. Now, you heard Ms. Vasquez try to say, you can't trust those, it's not the originals. She's got that wrong. It's not from the original devices. Ms. Heard took all kinds of photographs, and her friends took photographs, and all of those remained on the cloud, and all of them have been imaged, and all of them have been examined by their IT experts, and they cannot discredit one photograph. Then she says, and it's got a photo editing thing. Well, all iPhones have the photo editing. It's where you can make it a little lighter or darker, you can move it to the center or not.